Today we're going to make a wizard school simulator. When I was younger, I used to play a game called Bully, which is a game where you go to school, follow classes, do some missions, and just mess around with the world. Now, those of you who have been following me for a while probably know that I really like wizards. The reason I like wizards so much is because I always imagine magic could allow for some really creative stuff to happen. So whenever I was playing Bully, I thought it would be fun to have this sort of a game, but at a wizard school. But back then I didn't really know how to make such a game. And well, now I do, so let's get started. The game I have in mind is 3D, but making 3D models is hard. Plus, I really like the look of pixel art. So I chose to take inspiration from Paper Mario. In Paper Mario, all the characters are flat, but the world is 3D. The nice thing about such an art style is that things can get quite cartoony, which helps to add a little bit of lighthearted humor to the game. So I too will have flat characters walking around in a 3D world. The added benefit is that the animations can be quite simple this way, and I can use Unity's animation system for creating the animations. The world will be made up of cubes, so I'm making a voxel engine. This means that the world is made up out of chunks, and each of these chunks basically is just a three-dimensional array of blocks. Based on this block data, I can generate a mesh, and a mesh is basically a 3D model. And then I can use these meshes to render chunks and also give them collision data. The cool thing about a voxel world is that the terrain is completely destructible, which will allow for some really cool spells, I think. I also made some tools which help me create this world. Basically, I can just configure these boxes. They consist of a position and a size and a block type. And then when the map is loaded, the boxes simply fill up with the chosen block type. Later, I will add different shapes beside boxes to allow for some cooler buildings. But for now, I think this is enough. So the way I set things up is that I have a character prefab, and then things like the player and NPCs and enemies will have their own game object, which contains this character prefab. This means that I can have generic humanoid animations, but have different objects display those animations. The students are fairly simple. I made a student behavior that uses a NavMesh agent to find its way around the world. Remember the mesh data from the chunks? Well, the NavMesh system in Unity basically allows me to create information about where agents can walk based on mesh data. So I can simply give the NavMesh the meshes from the voxel engine and the system is good to go. For the casting system, I'm still experimenting. Right now I have a casting system where you can hold the cast button and a cursor appears. Then when you let go of the cast button, the spell will be cast at the position that the cursor was at. I made two spells with this system. One is a simple fireball that explodes at the destination. The other is a terrain destruction spell. The way I do this cool blow-up effect with the voxels is I have the mark detect which voxels are in range. Then I update the chunk to clear out the cubes in the range. Then I create separate cube objects at the positions of the removed voxels. Then I add a bit of velocity, which make the cubes fly up in the air. I have a bunch of ideas for other spells, but I will cover those in a later video. Of course, if you have your own ideas for spells, then feel free to leave them in the comments and maybe I can implement them into the game. Since you have great power, you also have a great opportunity to mess around with other people. That is why I made Prefects. These guys will simply just chase you whenever your wanted meter gets too high. Oh, and I also implemented a minimap so you can see where they are. The way I implemented the minimap was fairly simple. I had a second camera which points down, and it also only views the terrain layer and an icon layer. Then it renders the things it sees to a separate texture, a render texture, And then in the UI system, I simply display this render texture in the corner of the screen. I made prefect icons on the minimap by having them as a game object in the world, which always points up, but it logs to the prefect objects. Then in the main camera, I simply don't render the icons, and this way you have a normal world in the main view and a minimap. And that about wraps up this first devlog. If you like this game and you want to stay updated, then don't forget to subscribe and please hit the like button on this video, it really helps. For now, I want to thank you very much for watching and till next time.